this passion for fashion was gradually kind of shifting. It was a passion, and it became a dream, and then it became other people's dream for me.
I'm sorry to say it, alumni, but you are going to fail. Not at everything, but at something, and probably more than once. But the good news is that God is going to be there to help you walk through it, even if you don't notice Him right off the bat, even if you don't experience it as God's closeness in that moment. This week, we are kicking off a new series. It's called Oops, and it's all about reframing failure and finding God's redemption in the midst of it. And to get it all started this week, we are talking about passion. What would you do if your greatest passion turned out to be a failure? If you poured all of your time and effort and energy into something that you were really good at just to find out that it was never meant to be? Well, that's exactly what this week's guest experienced after graduation. After 2 transfers and 6 years of studying it in school, Nkao Hang was certain that she was going to pursue her love for fashion as her long-term career. She was good at it. Other people knew she was good at it. She had a lot of fun doing it, and she even wanted to use it as a ministry. But it became clear that this was not what God had in mind for her, and everything fell apart. We're going to listen in today as Nkao shares about the time that her passions failed and how God was there to help pick up the pieces with her. Welcome to After 4, your podcast for navigating life after graduation. I'm your host and guide, John Steele, and this one's for you, alumni. Nkao, welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yes. So excited. Can you just give us another brief introduction for people who didn't catch you the last time you were here?
Yeah. I'm Nkao Hang. I was a part of InterVarsity at the University of Wisconsin Stout, and then transferred to Eau Claire, was a part of that chapter, and then transferred back to Stout and then graduated with a degree in fashion. And then now I'm here at Port Washington, Wisconsin, and staffing at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee.
Nice. Yes. So a part of the InterVarsity world still, even after graduating. Yeah. That's awesome. Love it. Well, so Nkao, we're talking about failure, stories of failure. Mm-hmm. And not just because we want to highlight failure as a part of life, but we want to reframe it. Like, we do recognize, like, sometimes things just don't go the way that we anticipated. But I think that, and sometimes it takes longer than others. But I think that as we move through life, a lot of times we can look back on those failures, and we can actually see some of the places where God met us. Either he was reorienting the direction of our lives, or it was something that just went totally wrong, and He was there to just be a comfort to us in the midst of that. And we can sometimes miss that in the middle of those moments. But that's, we want to encourage young alumni that, hey, after you graduate, there might be things that just go absolutely off the rails, not what you expected, and that's okay. And not just because it happens to everybody, but because God is with you in it. And we want to point some spotlights on the things that God does in the midst of things going wrong. So you have a particular story that's really, my understanding is that it's about like a passion of yours that you were in pursuit of after graduation that did not go the way that you anticipated. So maybe tell us a little bit, like, big picture, set the scene for us, and then if there is a particular moment that you want to zoom in on in the midst of that story, take us there.
Yeah. After graduation, I wanted to pursue this degree in fashion. I feel like I was like slowly falling in love with fashion, and so I really wanted to see it through. So I started pursuing it as much as I could. But obviously that didn't work out. That's why I'm here.
That's why. Yeah, you're here. You're on staff.
I'm on staff. It's okay. Like, it's still a part of the picture, but it's just not something that I am full-time pursuing. Because it just wasn't there. I feel like that journey probably was a failure, but in a way, I feel like God made me feel like I didn't fail, because I really tried, the best that I could. And,
Yeah.
he was in the picture through it all. So,
Yeah.
and I'm very blessed and I'm very thankful for that. But no, after graduation, I was job hunting a lot of interviews, no luck. And maybe just like one or two that, may have progressed, could have progressed, but at the same time, I feel like I was a little stubborn where like, I don't really know. Like I was hesitant about it. And I feel like I don't make a decision out of hesitation if I don't feel right about it. And so, I just didn't really go forward with those. So yeah, it was during the pandemic that I graduated. So, eventually during that time of just kind of waiting as well, to hear back from these interviews, I started like a little Etsy shop doing like fashion accessories. So that really kept me being creative. And I started blogging. That's when I started blogging and started writing a lot. I'm a person that loves to journal, so I kind of just put that onto my blog and really share my journey. And then I moved home back to Sheboygan, which was very scary, but I feel like God was very much putting home on my heart as well, because I don't know. I obviously pandemic, everyone was feeling lonely. So I was like, what could go wrong? I mean, the worst would be I would just become the old version myself, and that was like a fear of mine. I didn't want to fall back into my old version. And then I took like 2 to 3 months break, just from interviews and job hunting. And I was like, okay, let's just kind of reset. And then I just started freelancing. So doing something with fashion, freelancing, working with clients. That was a little fun. Took like a few courses on how to be a good and healthy freelancer, and getting paid well. And then started my little custom design business. So making wedding dresses for friends and family.
Wow.
And then I jump onto like being very involved in like fashion events. And so I was in a lot of fashion shows and I was really putting my work out there, and just really promoting myself and kind of how to brand myself and what I want my brand to be. And so, I was a part of that and, setting like around like 5 to 8 or 10 pieces of collection, in these fashions, events and fashion show. And I was trying to put God in all of these collection. I was trying to tell stories. How can I put God in these collections and fashion? So I was trying to do like or have it become like a fashion ministry for me, and how that would look like. So I was very busy and I was I was all over. I was very busy and I feel like my passion for it definitely grew, but then I was also in battle with myself. Like I was still feeling like something was missing,
Interesting.
So,
So it's, I mean, so I'm just like, this is quite a journey already. I mean, if there's one word that comes to my mind for this stretch of time after you graduate, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of hustle that goes on in these months that follow. I mean, you said like, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of time to sort of step back. I'm going to give myself a little breathing room, 2 or 3 months here. But that even so, between graduation and where the story is going, there's like all of these different opportunities that you are in pursuit of. And, maybe some of them work out better than others. Your passion continues to grow throughout the course of all of this. And that you're one thing that I'm recognizing that you said is that throughout all of, like, you want this to be a fashion ministry. and that you want to see like where are the places that I can weave God into this story and the work that I'm doing and these lines that I'm putting out and these, you know, these fashion events that I'm a part of. Like, is there a way that I can make people aware of who God is in the midst of my pursuit of passion? But then right before I cut you off there, you said that but something felt like it was still missing. So I'm interested to know what that is. Like, what is the thing, like, as you're going through all of this stuff and hustling like crazy, what's not lining up for you then?
Um, I feel like along the journey, okay, like it's gonna sound really bad, but I feel like along the journey, I knew that it wasn't really for me, you know? And I feel like how I knew that is just because I still feel very lonely, like through the journey, even though I've met new friends, you know, through like my fashion events and fashion community, and even clientele. Like I've built pretty good friendship and relationship with these, even models. But
Nice.
For some reason, like I feel that like their journey was just so lonely to me. And that made home very lonely to me as well. Because I'm like, it doesn't make sense that I'm home, but like, why do I feel like I'm still so alone?
Yeah.
Or like I'm with family, but why do I feel like I'm the only one, you know, here? And the joy, like it was fun, you know, the journey it was fun, and I did find some joy in it, but it was just it felt very temporary, like it felt very short lived. That I was just able to enjoy it for one day or two. And then it just didn't last as long as I wanted it to be. And I feel like that already to me was like, yeah, something's missing. Like something is not, I guess, lining up because I just know that I'm really good at this. And I know that everyone is like proud of me, and I know that everyone is like supporting me. And that makes me excited, you know, because they're excited for me. But there's just a big but, you know? So,
yeah, you got to watch out for those. Oh,
I know.
man.
So, and then just like the question that at the time, like I grew to hate the most was what's next.
Okay.
It was very frustrating because I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out at the time. Like I don't really know, but every time I achieve something like a big milestone and just hearing that, like, okay, like what's next, you know? And I know they're excited, but it's like I'm like trying to really take it all in, and then celebrate myself and how far I've come. But I just feel like that question just like keeps coming up, and I'm just like, yeah, I was like a little frustrated and annoyed. Like,
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So Cowley, as I'm listening to you share, it's interesting to me. Like I used the word passion at the top of the episode here, and I think I got that word from you as you were describing some of these things to me as we were communicating before. And that is really interesting to me because it feels like a distinction between you found a job that didn't work out for you as opposed to this is something I'm really passionate about, like something I care about, something that feels like maybe a really important part of who I am. I'm good at it. Other people think that I'm good at it. They're excited for me. They want to see me progress. And yet there's something about this passion or there's something about the way that I'm applying it that is not aligning with something maybe even that's more deeply important. And it seems to me like you started entering this phase of like starting to figure out what is it that is misaligned here, because this is fun. I enjoy it. I'm good at it. Shouldn't that be enough? And so what was it then that you, as you're sorting through these things, like, did you come to a moment where you're like, I I understand, or maybe I don't fully understand, but I do get it that it's time for me to step in a different direction. Like, was there a turning? Was there a fork in the road moment for you in as you were working through these things?
I think ultimately I was really sitting on it for a while. And I didn't receive this like right off the bat, while I was sitting in it. It took a lot of tears. It took a lot of tears.
Okay.
I feel like it was a passion and it became a dream. And then it became other people's dream for me.
Interesting.
And I think I was like, because I understand that passion comes and go. We like goals changes every year. It's like we're not the same every year too, and so and I feel like maybe at one point like it wasn't working, and my passion was kind of gradually this passion for fashion was gradually kind of shifting. But I didn't want to believe that. And so I was like really trying to like make this work. Eventually to the point where like I started to realize like I think I was like living out like the dream that other people dream for me. Because they were excited for me. And that's what really kept me like to stay on course, on like the course, and so they were really like like prophesying for me, like I see this happening for you, and so I was excited. I was like, oh, that's like I love that, like thank you so much. But and so that kept me on the journey, and then to a point where I feel like I don't think this was becoming a dream anymore, that's kind of where I was at.
So then clearly at some point, okay, so you mentioned that this is something that is still a part of your life, not in the same way, but that it's a part of your life. So at some point you decide to go a different direction. As you look back on that and the decision to move a different direction with like the way that you're spending your time or your professional pursuits, as you think about that and making that change, what is it about deciding, or what is it about the way that things with fashion turned out, this passion that you had, that you look back on it and you say, this is why that feels like a failure to me, or why in the moment it felt like a failure to me? Maybe that's a better way to put it. Why there in that space did you feel like I failed?
Because I just didn't want to give up. I just didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to give up, and I feel like the thought of giving something that I worked pretty hard for to get this degree for, I felt like I was quitting, and I felt like I wasn't fulfilling what I thought was my calling for me. So that made me feel like a failure, and to tell my family that. And a few people, they're like, well, like I thought you were gonna keep pursuing fashion, like you're so good at it. Like coming to terms with that and being honest with that was hard. But it was, I guess, the beginning of me healing as well.
Well, okay, so then let's go in that direction now, sitting here where you are and having a little more perspective. How is it that God met you in the midst of that failure? How do you look back and see God at work in the time since then? Like what has he done, and what was he doing then, even if you couldn't see it at the time?
I feel like just bringing me back home. Like, that was really God's plan. Even though it was hard for me to like make a decision to move back home. And I wasn't like, when I even said like I wasn't being honest, with how I was truly feeling with family. It wasn't the fact that like that I had people to tell, but it was it was the feeling of my family just surrounding me. And I feel like that made it a little easier in a way because they were still around. And I was reminded to laugh. And that was like literally my therapy, you know, laugh with like my nieces and nephews. And so, and because like being home, just made it less lonely, just less lonely.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then really, I just remember like constantly like chasing after God and like constantly crying out to God and being in scripture and, you know, even Lake Michigan here in Sheboygan, like that was my place of solitude. There would be nights where I just could not sleep in. I would wake up before the sunrise and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna have to drive myself to the beach. And I would stay there for so long until the sun starts rising. Like I was really at that place where I needed, you know, I needed to hear something. I needed just to be with God every day because I was just like, I don't understand.
Wow.
But yeah, like if it wasn't for where I was, like I don't think like I wouldn't know like how I would even process any of these things, you know. So yeah, I feel like God really met me through there. And in scripture, I think one that stood out to me was like in Deuteronomy about the wilderness. I feel like I was walking around the wilderness for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like he was really testing my heart as well, you know. Like if I was still gonna keep choosing him through all of this. And I feel like I was walking around the mountain for too long, knowing that God is at the top. But I was like, I need to make sure first, you know? And it's annoying because I'm just someone that always wants to make sure and wants to like hear exactly the words, you know? So ultimately, I think God was also like checking in on me a lot. Last, just like last year, I was in the state of very, very bad depression. And like I experienced depression here and there, but I feel like this one was just like, oh, like it was just so bad to the point where I just did not want to talk to anyone. Like I don't want anyone to ask me how I'm doing because I would have to be honest, you know, and then I don't want to lie. And so eventually I just felt like he was like I was crying almost every day. Okay. And then I felt like the Lord was like just telling me like, if you don't get yourself out of this state of mind, you are going to die.
Wow.
And that scared me. Like I felt like I was physically going to die. I felt like I was going to develop anything. And I thought of cancer, like this could really cause cancer or like this is anything, you know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to like snap out of it now, before anything, you know, before I just fall into the pit. And so yeah, God was really pulling me out of there. And it was a very, very hard season. But I think like slowly, like I was healing from that, you know. He was really checking up on me. One of the questions that I asked myself a lot last year was, how was my soul? And I have so many pages in my journal, like to check up on me, like, how is your soul today, Holly? Like, and just to really like track myself, my mood. I even like subtracted like sugar and caffeine. Like I'm just like, I was like that scared, you know, like you really woke me up. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, I need to really take my life seriously now. And I feel like, yeah, that just brought me back to this like revelation, like who am I really living for, you know? And I feel like I really understood like what it means to really, really die to myself, you know, and just live for Christ. And I feel like that's my life motto right now is like from Philippians, like to live is for Christ now, and like to die is even better.
Mm.
And I feel like I see it just a lot more different now. I've received this from actually like in my youth when I first heard the gospel, and my pastor like always recited this to us, and I feel like it's really come like full circle where right now like this is all like I'm like truly understanding this, like dying and being with God, like that's such a gift, and I'm actually like even excited for that, which is crazy. But yeah, God really woke me up, and
Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, it sounds like God met you in I'll sort of boil it down to two kind of big things that I'm hearing. It sounds like there were ways that God met you very like gently and compassionately, that even this sort of like checking in on you regularly, and just some of these kinds of like how is your soul sort of questions that like he's prompting you to ask, and just this very tender experience with the Lord. And then at the and then right along with that was I don't know, you didn't use the word conviction. I don't know if that's the right word, but almost this like, and it's time to wake up. Like it's time to pick yourself up, and it's time to keep moving. And like the sort of hand in hand, this encouragement to like, Cowley, it's time to go. And I'm also here for you. Like I'm going to take care of you, but we need to get moving. And and that's just really interesting to have met you in the midst of those things. And also you mentioned that your family was right there, like to crowd around you, to be with you, because that was something you had said earlier, is that even though you were surrounded by people, when you were in pursuit of this passion, you were getting so much like encouragement and whatever, that there was still something that was missing, and that there was still so much loneliness that you experienced in the midst of that. But then when you like let these things go, you're like, wow, like God met me in community, and he met me in these intimate spaces, and he checked in on me, and he also said, let's get going.
Yeah, that is well said. Yeah, really, I think through it all, he was really setting me free. So
yeah, wow, that's amazing. And now you're on staff with InterVarsity.
I know,
like super cool.
The very last day, I reached out to Nkao, that's his staff at Mount Mary right now. So she prayed over me, and then that's exactly when I got up and I started volunteering and started discerning my path with InterVarsity. So
wow. Yeah. That's fantastic. Thank goodness for La Tao. La was in my, she started staff with me. We were in the same group together in new staff formation. Cool. So I got to spend some time with La. She's fantastic. Thank you, La, for all that you've done. Yes. We see you. Yeah. So, okay. I have two last questions for you. One will be my typical sort of wrap up question that I ask every guest, is to give people a word of encouragement or a piece of advice or something. Before I do that, just really quickly, as you think about the way that you invested yourself in this passion, that I think that I legitimately believe you had like the best of intentions, and that you wanted to use it as something to pursue God and to bring him into this world with you, but that you started to realize this is not, I'm actually pursuing other people's dream for me. And this is not the thing that I'm supposed to do, even though I do enjoy it. When you compare that experience to now, this sort of surrendered, like, God, what do you want me to do? And pursuing this direction. For you, it's being on staff. Like that may not be the case for most people that listen to this, and that's okay. Yeah. But just big picture, this like pursuing what I thought I wanted to do versus pursuing what God invited me to do. Like how do those things differ? How has your experience differed in living into that? And I know you're still fairly early on in the process, but like what's that been like so far?
It's fairly new.
yeah, totally.
But it's so much. I feel like I've received so much, and I feel like I've been praying for this, I've been praying for this level of joy and happiness. And it's different. Like, it's a different level of joy and happiness that I'm like receiving, and which is so crazy, because before, whenever I would experience joy and happiness, like, I was actually living in this fear that's gonna go away. And so that's why it was so short lived, because I was afraid that this is just temporary. I knew it was gonna go away. But this level of joy and happiness, I'm just like, I'm actually not afraid that it's gonna go away. It's like, when it does go away, I'm actually excited, to feel the happiness and joy again, which is like crazy to me. Yeah. And I'm reminded of the scripture. I think it was in Matthew, just like, when you first see the kingdom of God, it's like everything else will be added to you.
Yeah.
And I feel this just abundance level of love from God and joy. Like, it's like none other.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I've learned that I was very selfish, and I feel like he's like showing me that now, where I'm actually sharing a lot of my energy and my time and my space in my prayer life, and I'm sharing God, my relationship with God, with these people, and He's really gifted me friends and community, and every day, like, people are praying, and I'm really put in these shoes where I'm also praying, and I'm like, I feel like my faith journey, I'm so like comfortable in my personal prayer life, because it's just so vulnerable with God. And so, like, He's really put me in this uncomfortable position where I am like learning to pray with others. Now I'm learning to just receive people's love and receive people's pray. And I really feel that love, not just through them, but like Jesus through them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
just overwhelming.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like, you can't really comprehend.
Yeah. I love that. It is amazing when we are leaning in, even though we will always do it imperfectly, when we are leaning into what the Lord has for us, when we're not feeling like we must do the thing that somebody else has set out for us, or the thing that, like, no, I want to make this work, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it work, and that those things can really come up empty for us. But that when we lean into what the Lord has for us, even if it's totally unexpected and not something we ever would have thought we would have done. 15 years ago, Cowley, I never would have been able to tell you that I'd be doing this right now. And the Lord took me through or maybe I took Him through a meandering path. I don't know. Either way, it was meandering. But then to be in those places where you have a sense of like, right here, right now, I'm doing exactly what God has invited me to do. That just feels really amazing. That level of surrender and peace and joy. Like, when happiness ebbs and flows, you have that stability of joy, because it's like, I'm secure in the goodness of God. And that is an amazing place to be. So, Cowley, as you think about all of these things that you've shared with us, do you have one parting piece of advice that you would give to other alumni who maybe feel like they're in the midst of experiencing some level of failure after graduation?
I would say, just have so much grace towards yourself, really. Like, there's no such thing as like a perfect journey. We have a perfect God.
Yes.
He remains the same. But I think just be open to really experience it all, to be honest. And to have so much patient endurance, to really hold on to God, to the grip of God's hand. That's what really kept me through, because that's how much I believe in God, and how He can be for me, what He can do for me. We can let go, but I know God doesn't let go.
Alumni, rest assured that when you experience moments of failure after graduation, God will be there. He will be gentle in the places where you need gentleness. He will provide encouragement in the places where you need to be encouraged. And He will also tell you when it's time to get on your feet, brush the dirt off, and get moving again. Whether it's the loss of something you were really passionate about or something totally different, He will be there for you. I promise you that, alumni. Nkao, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, asking a longtime listener to come on the podcast for the second time now and talk about failure is a huge request, and you did it with grace and poise. Thank you so much for gifting us with your story. Alumni, be sure to come back next week for another story of failure after graduation. Oops, I moved to a different state for nothing. Until then, consider sharing this episode with someone who needs to hear it, and I will see you in the after, alumni. Thanks for listening to After 4. This podcast is brought to you by the InterVarsity Alumni Relations Team, hosted and produced by John Steele, production assistance by Mike Zentera, edited by Caleb Leppert, and our After 4 theme music was written and performed by John Steele.